מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברוך מי לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to everybody here in the congregation and everybody who is joining us online. It is wonderful to have Cantor Eicher back here with us to lend his voice, share his voice, so you don't have to deal with just my voice. And of course, we have Donna as well to share her beautiful voice. We stop for a moment and we take a big breath. We inhale everything from this week and we exhale it out. We'll do another one. And we'll let it out as we come together and we welcome in the calm and the peace of Shabbat. And if you are at home and you have your candles near you, I ask you to get those ready so that we can light together. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. As we welcome in the warmth and the light, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. And if you are able, I ask you to rise for Kiddush. And there was evening and there was morning the sixth day. The heaven and the earth were finished and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
And we continue now on page 123 as we sing together the Kedushat Hayom, the sanctification of this Shabbat day. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahavav ratzon hinechir lanu zikaron lema'aseh Bereshit, ki hu yom techito mikro kodesh zecher letziot b'Mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta v'otanu ki mikol ha'amim v'shabbat אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
And we say together, L'chaim, to life. You may be seated. So about 5 years ago, I was sitting at a Jewish Federation meeting. And the Jewish Federation was discussing a new program called the Shin Shin program. And I said, oh, wait, I know what that is. A very good friend of mine, a rabbi in Milwaukee, works for the Jewish Community Center, and they have Shin Shinim all throughout Milwaukee. And she said, it's a phenomenal program. You need to do it if they're bringing it to St. Louis. So our St. Louis Federation said, we're going to try this out, and we're going to bring 2 Shin Shinim to St. Louis. Who wants to be part of this? And of course, being part of it means you have to make a contribution, a financial contribution to it. So I brought it back to UH and said, we have to do this. This is a program in which we have a young Israeli join our staff for the year and is here to do anything and everything having to do with Israel, with being Jewish, with Hebrew, with whatever. 4 years ago, likely many of you met Yuval, who was here, our very first Shin Shin, followed by Lear. Then we had Guy, and Guy, because of COVID, one day was here, and we got the phone call saying, I've just been told I have to leave in 2 days, and he was called home to Israel. And many of us were still able to learn from him as he finished out his year over Zoom. Then in June-ish, we got the call. We were expecting our Shin Shin in August and got the call saying, yeah, and St. Louis moved to, we were supposed to get 4 Shin Shinim this year instead of just 2. And we got the call saying, your Shin Shin isn't coming right now. She hasn't received her visa. Then we get the call, do you still want to participate in the program? We don't know yet if we can send anybody. Of course we want to participate in the program. Other congregations in St. Louis started dropping out of the program. This isn't the year to do it. It's COVID. You know, we're not going to spend the money. We don't know how we'll use a Shin Shin. And we said, we're going to stick with it. Our Shin Shin didn't come. Our Shin Shin didn't get a visa. And then in September, Lee received a phone call saying, would you take another Shin Shin? And so the congregations and agencies in St. Louis sat through a round of interviews, and lo and behold, Donna comes our way. And you all may not know, Donna was supposed to be in Long Island. When Lee came home and said, we're getting a Shin Shin that was supposed to be in Long Island, I said, oh, she's in for a really big shock if she was expecting Long Island. The reason I said this was a couple of years ago, I sat in on a Shin Shin interview, and that Shin Shin was interviewing in St. Louis, and we started talking about it over Zoom. And this Shin Shin quickly realized we weren't in Europe. He thought he was interviewing for St. Louis in Europe. I don't know where St. Louis in Europe is, but thought it was Europe. And when he found out it was Missouri, he pulled out that afternoon. So I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting if she's expecting Long Island. Donna shows up, and what a gift. What a blessing. In a year that was difficult for all of us, a year that was a trial of what are we going to do, How are we going to introduce her to people? How are we going to do programming? Certainly with our students who were in person for religious school, our ECC, and our students online, she interacted all the time. The beautiful blessing is her voice and presence, which she brought to this bima, and so often would say, I'm happy to come Friday night. I'm happy to be here, which allowed all of you, our congregation, to get to know Donna in ways that you may not have if she was only interacting with the young people in our congregation. We truly have been blessed for the past 4 years to have some of the best young people in our congregation who are bringing Israel to us, who are here to share themselves, share their experience, which is so important, especially if you've seen the latest Pew study. Many young Americans believe that Israel is under this military, dictatorship, and that everybody sees that all the time. And yet Donna is able to share that experience and to bring herself. And so even though technically her time with UH was done at the end of May, she wasn't ready to say goodbye, and neither were we. And so she's been with us all summer. And this is her last official Shabbat with us as she leaves St. Louis on Sunday. But we are blessed to have one more time to hear from her and to be with her this Shabbat. Donna.
It's harder than I thought. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, my UH family. There are so many people who mean so much to me in this room tonight. Each one of you has had an extraordinary impact on my year here in St. Louis. I wanted to share with you a little about how everything started, how this year showed me in the most amazing and crazy way that everything happens for a reason. About a year and a half ago, while I was in the middle of the tests of the Jewish Agency for the Shinshanim program, I noticed that Guy Nahum, one of the previous UH Shinshin, was on my Instagram. I did not know him, but because of his Instagram, I got to know St. Louis through his experiences. Through his posts, I could tell that something about this place felt right, like home. In October 2020, in the middle of the lockdown in Israel, everything was up in the air. We didn't know if programs were going to even happen. I talked to a friend on the phone and told him that I wonder if the St. Louis Shinshanim had already started their year. A few days later, it was like someone here had heard me. I got a phone call from the director of the Shinshanim program in Israel. She told me that I would have an interview to be a Shinshanite in St. Louis. If that's not Beshert, I don't know what is. I was so happy I was accepted. I packed everything in 5 days and 3 suitcases and flew here, filled with motivation and ready to start the most meaningful year in my life. I am so blessed. I grew so much this year, and I have learned a lot about myself and about the diaspora Jews. I was privileged to have a bat mitzvah here. I want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you, UH clergy, Rabbi Rosenberg, Rabbi Bellows, and Cantor Eicher, for welcoming me to your community with open arms, for changing my life for good. You are family for me. This talit that I'm wearing today means a lot to me. It was a gift for my bat mitzvah from Rabbi Rosenberg, who has become so important to me. I will forever remember our shopping trip together, dinner, and the interesting discussions that we had in confirmation classes. Thank you for being such an integral part of my journey and my Jewish life. Thank you for making me feel like home, even though my original one is 10,000 miles away. For teaching me and helping me not to take my Jewishness for granted. for showing me that outside of Israel, Jewish people need to make an effort and choose it every day. Thank you for making me feel so safe. Thank you, Cantor Riker, for always changing the key for me 5 minutes before the service. Really appreciate that. Now seriously, thank you for teaching me everything I needed to know for my bat mitzvah, for accompanying me and supporting me throughout the whole service. It was the most powerful experience that I have had. Thank you for being such an important part of it. Thank you, David, for all of the beautiful music, for the magical moments on the bima during services. When I stand and sing on the bima, I am the most authentic version of myself. I will take so much from this year as I go forward in my life. I have learned life skills that I won't get anywhere else, and most importantly, made connections and friendships that will last for a lifetime. This goodbye is so much harder than I imagined. However, I close this chapter of my life knowing that I have a second home across the sea. Always remember that you all have a special place in my heart and also in my house in Israel. I'll finish by saying how lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. Already miss you all.
We pause for a quick equipment update.
ישראל גואלו ברכת מדינת ישראל ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו
אבינו שבשמיים צור ישראל וגואלו ברכת מדינת ישראל ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו
הגן עליה בברת חסדך ופרוס
עליה סוכת שלומך ושלך אורך ומטרן לראשיה זרעיה
חילם אלוהינו ישועה ואתם ניצחון תעטרם ונתת שלום בארץ ושמחת עולם ליושביה אבינו שבשמיים צור ישראל גואלו ברכת מדינת ישראל ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו אבינו שבשמיים צור ישראל
beautiful prayer for Israel as we move into Lecha Dodi, welcoming Shabbat, welcoming in the Shabbat bride on page 138 and 139.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, שמו לתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצוהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
We remain standing as we continue with Baruch Hu on page 146.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
And we continue on page 148 as we join together with Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi laila, Umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, Tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv aravim. The top of page 151, we read together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And we continue on page 152.
As we take in that deep breath, that cleansing breath for Shabbat and prepare for this wonderful 25 hours of rest, Jew, J-E-W, the nation, let's close our eyes for just a minute and focus on ourselves. Let's just focus on ourselves, not anything else. And let's just quiet ourselves and think that and think about our condition today. And let's let go of all of that stress. And we sing together, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. And we'll continue together in the English at the top of page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. And in a moment, we're going to turn to the words of Mi Chamocha. And throughout this year, I was looking forward in the back of our book, the words to Erev Shel Shoshanim.
I think it's, go to page 625 and take a look at the
I will. So,
index.
page 654. One of the beautiful things that has come on our Bima this year has been the mashup, as we like to call, between Mi Chamocha and the Israeli song Erev Shel Shoshanim, which you can see on page 654. A beautiful love song that is written, and a beautiful way to mash up with the Mi Chamocha as we think that ultimate moment of love where God redeemed the Jewish people, opened up the waters so that our ancestors could cross, and then this beautiful, they sing afterwards to God. And what a beautiful way to mash in this love song, perhaps thinking of it between the Jewish people and God. And tonight, the reason I bring it up is earlier this week, we brought forward a new Jew into the Jewish people. And always moving, but I thought of it as Cantor was inviting us to think about the week and say the words of Shema. And that moment when she was in the mikveh and got choked up with words of Shema, words that had already become so familiar to her. And yet at that moment in the mikveh, this connection. It was almost this moment of a love song between her and God, this recognition that she was joining us, joining our people in this same covenant with God. So an image maybe to hold on to. It's what I'm thinking of as we move into this beautiful mashup of Mi Chamocha and Erev Shel Shoshanim.
ערב של שושנים, נצא נא אל הבוסתן, מור בשמים ולבונה, לרגלך מפתן.
תורת תגילות, אוספת לב, תורת תגילות, אוספת לב.
לילה יורד לאט, ורוח שושן נושבה, אהבה אלחש לך שיר בלט, זמר של אהבה.
מלכותך ראו פניך, בוקר היום לפני משה, זה מליאנו.
ערב של שושנים, נצא נא אל הבוסתן, מור בשמים ולבונה, לרגלך מפתן.
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
לילה יורד לאט, ורוח שושן נושבה, אהבה אלחש לך שיר בלט, זמר של אהבה, זמר של אהבה, זמר של אהבה.
And as we prepare for Hashkivenu on page 160, a blessing, umbrella of blessings by Alden Salavi. God of mystery, God of wonder, your word is an umbrella of blessing, your wisdom a canopy of holiness and light, a shelter of awe and wonder. Ancient One, your blessings protect the strong and lift the humble. Guard the joyous and support grieving. Guide the hopeful and raise the downcast. Your tent is the arch of the heavens. Your drape is the firmament of sky. Your blessings quench our thirst, feed the land, fill our hearts, bring hope and healing. Blessed are you, Ancient One. You cover our lives with an umbrella of blessings, filling our days with joy and thanksgiving and peace.
השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו
continue now in our prayer books on page 164 as we rise for the Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'konei Hakol Ve'zocher Chaste Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. Page 168. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh Hakol Atah Rav Lehoshia Morid Hatal Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayeh Hakol Berachamim Rabim Zomech Noflim Ve'rofech Horim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Bichamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umidomerach Melech Memit Umechayeh Umatz Mi'ach Yeshua Ve'ne'eman ata lachayot hakol Baruch ata Adonai Mechayeh hakol. Page 170. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalaluhu chasela. Baruch ata Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. And we turn in our prayer books to page 179 as we join together in a prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. And we now turn in our prayer books to page 371 as we turn our hearts, our thoughts towards those in our community who are in need of healing. And tonight, if you are thinking of someone who is in need of healing, for those who are in the congregation, I'll have you rise and all together call out those names, and for those at home, you may call aloud those names as well. At this moment, if you will rise, and if you are thinking of someone in need, please call their name and add it aloud to our prayer this evening. And we take all of those names into our hearts as we ask God to swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit as we join together now in singing our prayer for healing.
מי שבאמת
for silent and personal prayer.
זה עוד יום שישי, נושם את האוויר, האור והצל משחקים, שוב תופסת. השולחן ערוך, תמונות ילדות על הקיר, שיירות לבנות חוזרות מבית כנסת, והריח הזה ששורט לי את הלב, מתגנב, מתגנב ופותח דלתות אל אושר קטן, אל אותו שיר ישן שעובר אצלנו במשך דורות. מתנות קטנות, מישהו שלח לי מתנות קטנות, רסיסים של כוונה, עיגולים של מרפסת ועיתון, השמש כמו הדאגות לאט נמחקת, מנגינות פשוטות זוחלות מהחלון, ושום שערה כבר לא תפיג פה את השקט. מתנות קטנות, מישהו שלח לי מתנות קטנות, רסיסים של כוונה, עיגולים של אמונה. מתנות קטנות, מישהו שלח לי מתנות קטנות, כמו הכוח לקבל את מה שאין, את מה שיש, מה עוד אפשר כבר לבקש. קיוונו בחרת ואותנו קידשת, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. והריח הזה ששורט לי את הלב, מתגנב, מתגנב ופותח דלתות אל אושר קטן, אל אותו שיר ישן שעובר אצלנו במשך דורות. מתנות קטנות, מישהו שלח
Shabbat Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom to all of you joining us on live stream. My name is Cheryl Bauer, and I'm the president-elect of the Board of Trustees of United Hebrew Congregation. I'm thrilled to have all of you here with us, as well as those joining us online. Tomorrow at UH, we have Torah study that begins at 9 a.m., and following that will be our Shabbat services at 10:30. Then tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, we'll end Shabbat with our Next Week Now Havdalah. Our upcoming programs for Elul: tomorrow we have our Plato and the Talmud series with Cantor Eicher, and that begins at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. On Sunday at 10 o'clock is our series Becoming Whole This Season. It begins this Sunday. Also, please join Rabbi Rosenberg on Wednesday for either online or in-person challah baking. It's going to be round challah. You can come here to UH or do it online. That'll be fun. And also, Rabbi Rosenberg will begin our Musar for the High Holy Days on next Saturday, August 14th at 12:30. A listing of other programs can be found in the High Holy Day brochure that you all received or on our website. As a reminder, RSVPs are required for all High Holy Day services. Please don't forget that. Also, we have our members-only sale of the UH Cemetery through September 16th, where you can purchase 2 burial plots for the price of 1. We also have the UH's olive oil fundraiser with My Tree in Israel. And this is a unique program that connects you directly to an Israeli farmer by adopting an olive tree in their grove. Also, as you're buying back-to-school supplies, please don't forget to use Amazon Smile and name United Hebrew as your charity of choice. Anything that you buy through Amazon Smile, United Hebrew gets a percentage back, so please encourage your family, your children, your friends to use Amazon Smile and name United Hebrew as their charity of choice. I'd like to thank our greeters and ushers and our tech team for this evening. I'd like to give a special support and thank you to Donna. We really appreciate your leadership, your beautiful music. We're so thrilled that you've been a member of our UH family this whole year, and we wish you the best of luck. I understand when you go back to Israel, it's time for the IDF. And so we wish you much safety and lots of luck, and thank you so much for everything you've given us. We appreciate it. As always, the gift shop is open by appointment only, and you can either call the office or call Iris. Shabbat Shalom.
And it is hard to believe, but it is the first Shabbat in August. I didn't realize that till I saw people filling out the slips of paper and thought, what Friday is it? Oh my goodness, it's August. So we have some names up here of those who are celebrating birthdays, and there are likely many of you at home celebrating birthdays. And I'm going to assume for those in the sanctuary, if you wrote a number on your slip, that means you'd like the number read. Otherwise, why would you write the number on your slip? So, celebrating birthdays in the month of August, Barry Krell is going to be 75 years old.
And celebrating a birthday on August 14th who is not 75 years old, Sherilyn Krell.
And Sandy Becker is celebrating a birthday and is going to be 80 years old. And starting the plethora of birthdays that are on August 20th in our congregation.
On August 20th, Jimmy Sussman.
Susan Becker will be 79 years old. And then the plethora, there's one in my house that is going to be celebrating a birthday. Angie Klinke in our office celebrates a birthday that day. August 20th was just a really
prolific,
big day for birthdays. So as all of you celebrate and those who celebrate online, blessed is the source that dreamed the day of your presence here on earth. May you feel embraced and folded anew by the miracle of your being.
And may you feel the deep purpose of your soul, loved and cherished into becoming who you are meant to be. May the inevitable dark gifts of hurt and loss school you in strength and perseverance.
And may you find holiness when you look into the eyes of someone who loves you. May you be a source of holiness for others. May you treasure and develop your uniqueness and be a blessing to all you meet. And together we say, Amen. And we say to all of you celebrating birthdays, Ad Mea Ve'esrim, may you live to be 120, just as, I always love, somebody shakes their head no, as Moses lived to be 120. Come on, 120 is the new 90, you know? And now we invite everybody, please, to rise as we turn to page 586 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591. ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. And we continue on page 595. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways that we remember. And this Shabbat, as we gather together, we have the sacred honor and the sacred duty to join with the family of Frances Gersten as we dedicate her name on our Rabbi Samuel Thurman Memorial Wall and Hallway. And each year, as we come to Frances Gersten's yahrzeit, we will join together with her family, lovingly remembering her and calling her name aloud here from Memorial in our congregation. And the heartfelt condolences of our congregation go out to the families of Bill Glicker and Barry Perlman. We are in the period of Shloshim for Paula Ellens Fisher, Bernice Goodman, Lee Ann Hecht, David Reuben Levy, Larry Miller, Ruth Pat Randolph, Mendel Rosenberg, Joan Elise Schenberg, Lawrence Larry Stempel. And this week, this Shabbat, we observe the yahrzeits as we lovingly remember Donald Abrams, Abraham Arbetter, Fanny Barnholtz, Anna Bernstein, Pearl Ina Block, Minnie Breimer, Saul Claris, Gladys Cohen, Rachel Simons Crown, Sam Davis, Joseph Essler, Ruth May Feldman, Herman Fitter, Max Gelfenbaum, Abe Gersten, Frances Gersten, James M. Ginsberg, Irv Glicker, Jacob Goldman, Diane Goldsmith, Jack M. Goldstein, Ada Goodman, Joseph Gordon, Libby Lerner Harris, Richard Hilton, Frank Hilton, Lebetta Libby Katz, Michael E. Kopman, Eva Korngold, Phil Magidson, Max R. Marion, Louisa Mayer, Milton Myers, Herman Millstone, Edith Fisher Norton, Sam B. Oberman, Shirley J. Oberman, Dr. Paul M. Packman, Jeanette Rodenberg, Joe Samuelson, Molly Sandberg, Jacob N. Sapin, Milton Schramm, Eva Schauer, Selma Stockman, Bernard J. Stockman, Joseph Strauss, Fred Suffian, William Trugman, May Walpert, Benjamin Wienick, David Weil, Elaine Walansky, Mark Richard Wall, Audrey L. Wolkowitz. Zichronam Livracha, may each of their memories be for blessing. As we turn to page 598 and we rise for the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal ve'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bialma Divra Chirute V'yamlich Malchute, V'chayechon Uvyomechon, Uv'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Olmei Almaya. Yit Barach Ve'yish Tabach Ve'yit Pa'ar Ve'yit Romam Ve'yit Naseh. Ve'yit Hadar Ve'yit Alev Ve'yit Halal Shemei Dekudasha Barichu. Le'ela Min Kol Birchata Ve'shirata. Tushbachata Ve'nechemata. Da'amiram Be'alma Ve'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Amen. And on this Shabbat, Donna, I'm going to call you forward before our closing song. As Donna had said, what else could be beshert? And a recognition that so often in all of our lives, there are people who come into our lives for whatever reason, and we may not know it at the time, they may not know it at the time, but they bring us blessing, and they bring us light. And a blessing for all of us, but especially you, Donna, called light overflowing. The light in me sees that the light in you is the light of God. O brilliance sparkling from your eyes, radiating from your chest. O wonder shining around us and sparkling with amazement. O glory overwhelming my heart, touching your soul. The light of God sees that the light in you is the light in me, the light in all of us. And so we were so blessed. And I decided during services, it came in my brain, lots of things happen when we pray, that I think we'll create a United Hebrew Spotify list of all the various Israeli songs that Donna has shared with us over the course of this year. That way we can continue listening to them, and then maybe she'll send us some new ones. But we end tonight with a prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom, and we tack at the end of it a very special song which you've likely heard us sing it before at the end of services, although none of you were in here to see it, because often it went to the fade screen and you just heard us singing. And this was on a particular Shabbat. We were having a good time, and Donna knows the oldies as well. And so we'll end after Oseh Shalom with Hallelujah. And if you know it, please join in with us.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom aleinu, שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו
What's the page number that's on?
It's not. I thought it was in the book. It's not.
Oh, it's not? Okay, watch our lips. We're the only ones not wearing masks. Here we go. Hallelujah. Get a sway going. Come on, let's get some movement. Keep going.
Shabbat Shalom.
Wait, my glasses are all fogged up.